All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between Robinson and Tekko, taking place here on Northern Isle. Robinson spawning as the blue night elf on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, over here on the top right, we have Tekko spawning as the purple human. Human versus night elf in this 1v1 here from Northern Isle, and hopefully, well, my casting will be better. Um, uh, Thank you, shout out to Pad, maker of the W3 booster. Um, I supported as long as I could to get the pro version, but you know, views are down. He's actually made it so that I can actually see the overlay now here in the 4K mode. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to glean or just get information from that overlay and quickly get back, as opposed to having to watch my stream. All right, apparently my youngest daughter doesn't realize that it's 6 a.m. and decided to wake up just because I'm talking into a microphone. Anyways, Robinson going to open things up here. Altar of Elders Moonwell going to be done, and it is going to be a keep. But nope, Warden first. Alright, so Warden first, going up against an Archmage. Now, Warden is known to be a very powerful hero. You often want to rush to Avatar of Vengeance, and the Warden is particularly deadly if you're able to get if you're able to solo hero up to level 5 and then maybe try and train up a panda behind it. We've seen so many games where the solo warden tries to carry the entire army on the back, but eventually 2 level 5 heroes are able to overpower say a single level 7 or even level 8 warden. So solo warden is strong, but being able to follow it up with say a panda to couple alongside with that breath of fire does work out well. All theory crafting, obviously, but we'll see what comes of this here as we're looking at the ogre magi and the Tuskar warrior all both taking a little bit of damage. Warden coming back across here, gonna try and clean things up as things are getting underway. Okay, Ogre Magi going to get taken down. Item is going to be a potion of greater mana. Meanwhile, Archmage militia clearing out some of these Murloc creep camps here. And well, I believe Robinson will be able to get to level 2. I believe this is a 5-4-4 creep camp, allowing him to get to level 2 as this Tuskar Trapper tries to take down this Ancient of War. Alright, is it going to take it down? No, it is not. Ends up getting down to, I believe, sub 30 hit points as the Warden gets to level 2 and still has not chosen an ability. Bright and early today, yep, bright and early as a Footman now trying to take down this Ancient of Wonders. But, well, we know Footman, and that Shadow Strike, it does deal damage over time. One more Shadow Strike, and, well, that guy is just going to fall over easily. And, well, the Warden finishing off that unit there. So 2 Shadow Strikes to take down a Footman. Potion of Greater Mana is still there, and in comes the Archmage. Alright, so Archmage, Water Elemental, trying to put in pressure. There's going to be a Shadow Strike damage onto the Archmage. Archmage going to try and retreat back. There goes one Wisp, and we are taking the tier 2 already by Robinson. Robinson could be potentially in trouble as the Wisps are now trying to play a game of whack-a-mole inside that Entangled Goldmine, trying to protect themselves from all of the damage here. Meanwhile, the Warden could try perhaps and get in a little bit more Shadow Strike damage. We're going to see another Wisp heal as the Archmage is still sitting in this fight here. Meanwhile, most of the Wisps inside that Entangled Goldmine have suffered a little bit of damage, and there's only one other Archer here as that Ancient of War was uprooted for a little bit as we are looking at the Archmage now looking to retreat back. Alright, Footman, Water Elemental is trying to push a damage all across. There's that second Archer, but is currently Shadow Meld as the Wisps are trying to get, well, into different locations here. Ancient of Wonders trying to fight back here. Meanwhile, Wisp coming out of the trees here, and now pretty much almost getting a strike here. Alright, the Warden is going to try and go for a Potion of Mana and Shadow Strike. It could easily do exactly that. Not quite sure why it isn't, as the Warden now looking to retreat back and now getting up a Clarity Potion going. Alright, Wisps also hiding here, trying to build up a couple of Moonwells as we're looking at a Shadow Strike go down. There goes another Footman as well, as the Water Elemental most likely just going to turn into a giant puddle there. Clarity Potion on that Warden. Warden still has that Potion of Greater Mana, chose not to use it, And, well, we are looking at 4 archers as the Archmage comes back around. Shadow Strike onto the Archmage. Archmage could be in a lot of trouble, taking quite a bit of damage. There's a Scroll of Town Portal to retreat back as the Ogre Warrior now, well, trying to take down this Ancient of Wonders. Ancient of Wonders still absorbing quite a bit of damage. There's that Claws of Attack +5 dropped here. Ancient of Wonders apparently not really worried about damage, just taking those axes from that Ice Troll. Meanwhile, Archmage is back at home. No Scroll of Regeneration yet. Did use that Scroll of Town Portal, retreated back, and we are at Keep. We are getting up a single Arcane Sanctum, but one thing we don't see yet is no Arcane Tower. Alright, so the Warden currently sitting at level 3, and we are currently sitting at level 3, and now does go for a Goblin Alchemist from the Archmage side, and going to be going for Healing Spray. Mantle of Intelligence going to be dropped here. I believe the Warden is going to be just shy of level 3, and now has not even chosen Blink or Fan of Knives yet, as the Ancient of War now training up those improved bows for, well, increased range. So increasing that range, I believe, from 500 to 700, quite a long volley indeed, as the Goblin Alchemist now out on the battlefield alongside that Archmage. Archmage, Goblin Alchemist wandering around here. Warden sitting at level 3. Is he going to try to go for some big Shadow Strikes onto that Archmage? Archmage takes a big Shadow Strike already. There's a Wand of Mana Stealing, trying to take away some of that precious mana, as the Warden still going after the Archmage. Are we going to see another Shadow Strike? Yes, we do. And the Archmage, gets a Healing Spray, survive, but a Blink. Now enough. Is it enough? Yes, a Blink from the Warden to get in front of the Archmage and get in some of that necessary damage. Warden still wandering around here, hoping to, well, cause more problems, as the Warden does have better regeneration while at Nightfall. Back at home, we are attacking to tier 3. We are going into Ancients of Lore. We do not see a second hero coming across from that Warden, so we may be trying to see that solo Warden strategy. Meanwhile, the Alchemist doing an okay job, going to be able to clear out a couple of these creep camps. That Alchemist now fighting alongside a handful of Riflemen. A Sorceress also needs to see a Priest as well, as the Tuskar Sorcerer able to finish off one of those footmen there. Alright, Tuskar Sorcerer going to get taken down. There it goes. Alchemist staying at level 2, as the Archmage should be resurrected shortly. Meanwhile, Ancient of War, well, taking... Oh, who got the last hit? Was that denied? I don't know. Someone will have to rewind that for me and let me know if you guys saw the Warden gain experience right there, as we're still looking at more damage. Comes across. There's a Blink to try to get away. There's a Shadow Strike, and that could be a Healing Spray, Priest Heal to try and keep that unit alive, and it looks like it will be able to do exactly that. There's a level up to level 4. There's a reveal. There's a Shadow Strike. There's a Blink, and the Warden is just going after targets as quickly as possible, down to 112 hit points, and still looking to retreat back. Alright, there's another Blink, there's a Shadow Strike, and we're looking at a potential death of a Priest, as the Scroll of Town Portal used by the Warden escaping and in the teens in terms of hit points. Talisman of Evasion left behind there. Ancient of War did not survive, as the Warden going to go ahead and heal up. Also get a Clarity Potion, get a Rejuvenation. Druid of the Claw perhaps waiting to get into Mastery form, as we're looking at the Warden, well, blink off to the north to pick up that expensive item. Alright, that Warden going to be continuing to try and play the solo Warden strategy, try to get to level 5 as quickly as possible. We're going to see some damage. There's Archmage. Is the Archmage going to get another Shadow Strike? Invul Potion, perhaps. Yes, does get an Invul Potion. There's some damage racked up onto that Archmage. Archmage, however, does have Rune Bracers. So if you were wondering, as I was, how come that Archmage doesn't seem to be taking so much damage from that Shadow Strike, that is the reason why, as the, well, Warden continuing to go after targets. Alright, there's a little bit more damage. Healing Spray trying to keep that Sorceress alive, and it looks like it will stay alive once more, as the Warden, down to 80 some odd mana, is going to be able to use another Shadow Strike. There's another Shadow Strike, and does finish off that Sorceress there, as the Warden now down to 84 hit points and able to use the Invul Potion in order to survive. Tekko using the opportunity, knowing that the Warden is low on hit points, to clear out a creep camp right next to his opponent as the Warden has to back up. All right, we're looking at this Ogre Magi. There's another Talisman of Evasion. Those do not stack. That is important. Going to sell one of those items. Use a Moonstone Clarity Potion. Perhaps does have Roar. Needs a Rejuvenation. And, well, that's what the Druids of the Claw are for. Give a Rejuvenation? No? Oh, wait, no. Instead, opts to... Yeah, no. Should have used a Rejuvenation there. Try to keep these Moonwells a bit higher overall, as we are currently at, well, Artificial Nightfall. All right, how is this all going to unfold next? Warden going to perhaps make its way back off to the top here. Dual level 3 heroes nearing, well, nope, still about 3.5, as the Rifleman trying to take down that Archer, get a little bit of bonus experience once more as we see a Staff of Preservation, well, saving that Archer back home. All right, 9:30 in the morning now. Warden ready to push through. Archmage, a Rifleman, going to summon up some Water Elementals, Healing Spray, Mana Stone on that Alchemist as well. So some very powerful items indeed. Meanwhile, that Warden perhaps going to try and go shopping. Has an Anti-Magic Potion, does a Tome of Retraining, and now goes into Blink and Fan of Knives. So Fan of Knives to try to counteract or Alchemist's Healing Spray and that Fan of Knives are going to be at odds ends, trying to deal damage and trying to heal it back up once more, as the Warden, well, still needs a little bit more experience. Gonna perhaps go after that Magnetar Reaver. There's a quick stun there, and we're gonna be looking at some damage onto that Ogre Warrior now. All right, never knew you could do this. The Ogre Warrior, is it gonna actually end up falling before the Magnetar? The Ogre Warrior could have perhaps gotten taken down before the Magnetar Reaver and the other Ogre Magi's and the Shaman tried to engage. There's going to be a Rejuvenation on that Warden. Warden now gets up to level 5, going to try and finish off this Magnetar Reaver, pick up a strong item. Meanwhile, we're still seeing here the Archmage and the Goblin Alchemist of Tekko still sitting at level 3, not going to tier 3, sitting at 59 over 62 supply, perhaps doing a bit of a push. He does have a supply advantage, but well, obviously in a low upkeep and losing gold every second. He needs to make sure he's dealing damage with this larger, superior army. 49 supply compared to 39, and here we are. All right, there's some repairs. We do not see Nature's Blessing. The Ancient Protector doesn't have additional armor, as the Ancients of Lore are also fighting back there. A big Fan of Knives from the back here, and we're going to be looking at a level 5 Warden as more units are going to try and engage here. All right, what was this? That Rifleman able to pass through right there. Are we perhaps going to be looking at some more? There's an Anti-Magic Shell. There's a Fan of Knives. And, well, trying to absorb some of that damage as the Druid of the Claw trying to retreat back there. All right, Warden does have 300 hit points, down to 2, down to 1, using a Scroll of Healing, trying to stay alive. Does have Anti-Magic Shell. Is going to be able to blink away. No, it is not. Does not blink away, and the level 5 Warden falls. All right, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for Tekko to come back around, perhaps clean up some of these other units that are retreating back, as we're looking at, well, a tower is being placed by Tekko as well. All right, a couple of low hit point archers trying to fall back as well. Riflemen getting in some easy shots onto some of those archers. More damage being done, 54 supply compared to 39. Level 5 Alchemist, nearly level 4 Archmage, as this scout tower perhaps going to be upgrading to a guard tower here. All right, Tavern resurrecting that Warden. Warden trying to get back up to full. There's a couple of Moonwells, and now going to be ready to engage. There's a Blink. There's a Fan of Knives. That's a lot of damage. Anti-Magic Potion. However, there isn't that much magic damage, so the Anti-Magic Shell, well, isn't doing all that much. Meanwhile, Warden still taking a little bit of damage. There's another Fan of Knives there. Healing Spray trying to keep all of those units alive. There goes a Druid of the Claw. Level 4 now on the Archmage. Archmage going to have level 2 Brilliance Aura. Keeping the Alchemist topped off on mana is going to be key. As soon as, well, he gets that level 2 Brilliance Aura, still sitting at level 1 right now. Rifleman 2-0 upgrades, going to be continuing to, well, shoot the broadside of the bard here as the Warden tries to finish off a couple of these peasants. Archers, Dryads continuing to poke around. What is that level 5 Warden going to do? Just take a lot of feedback damage from that Arcane Tower as the units are falling back once more. Druids of the Claw need to get a Rejuvenation off onto that Warden. Warden in a little bit of a precarious situation as more towers are slowly inching their way forward. All right, level 5 Warden is going to try and, well, blink Fan of Knives, do all of that. There's some detonations. There's that Arcane Tower. Well, there's a protection from that mana as there's a blink Fan of Knives trying to dive into the back position. How about Warden going to be in trouble? Level 6 Warden going to try and back away now. Is it going to, oh, blinks and is now currently hiding. We do see some fairy dragons as the Warden, what is he doing? Like, needs to get up to 150 mana. I was trying to blink through the trees and try to perhaps make it back home, unable to do exactly that. 53 supply compared to 27. Solo Warden. There is another Moonstone, and now there's that Avatar of Vengeance. There's that Clarity Potion and the Avatar of Vengeance. Oh, well, Warden walks straight into a group of riflemen and loses that Clarity Potion once more. Meanwhile, Avatar of Vengeance needs to summon up more Spirit of Vengeances. That is going to be a very big deal. If Avatar of Vengeance can get enough units down out onto the battlefield, there's a couple of corpses there, and still trying to summon up even more. Avatar of Vengeance taking quite a bit of feedback damage from that Arcane Tower as the unit's now trying to retreat back. There's some healing spray again. A lot of low hit point units in the back once more as the Warden, solo level 6 Warden, trying to hold off the attack here as the Avatar of Vengeance could end up falling. All right, one more or two more attacks would have taken it down as the Spirit of Vengeances are, well, invulnerable. You have to take down the Avatar to remove these spirits as the Arcane Tower falls. All right, trying to take down some of these other key buildings. There's some more healing. Warden's going to be trying to make another play back out here. There's a blink. There's a Fan of Knives. We should be looking at a healing spray as well. There's a healing spray to do that counteraction. And, well, that Warden still not having enough to finish off all of these units. Meanwhile, what's going down here? Are we going to see another blink, another Fan of Knives? There's another blink. There's another Fan of Knives as the Archmage is now down to 137 hit points, trying to escape away. There's some healing spray. What is going to go down? Warden is going to be able to finish it off. Warden gets a potion of healing. Going to come back around. Fan of Knives finishes off the Archmage. And now the Warden using a potion of healing, or now buying another potion of mana. Are we going to see another Fan of Knives? Where did it blink off to? Blinked off into this position here. Does have a potion of healing. And now you see that the Warden, well, the Rifleman trying to take down this Ancient of Wonders, as that's going to be an important point. There's another blink. There's another Fan of Knives. Warden trying to stay alive here. Going to go ahead and just shadow meld once more. There's a reveal. The Warden down to 18 over 20 supply. This is the last Moonwell. Going to go ahead and drink it and pick it back up. Perhaps try and, well, put down the Medallion of Courage, use a potion of healing and pick it up again as this Avatar of Vengeance is down to 67 hit points. All right, waiting for that timing on that potion of healing is going to be key once more as this Moonwell. Nope. They didn't drop the Medallion of Courage that time. All right, Archmage back out onto the battlefield. There's going to be another blink. He's going to go ahead and use the shop. The Warden using that Ancient of Wonders as though it was a voodoo lounge from an orc player, just trying to buy everything and win with items purely. All right, there's that potion of healing. Perhaps going to buy another one again as the Ancient of Lores are trying to fight back. Spirit of Vengeance is still summoning up some more, and in comes the Warden again. There's a blink. There's a Fan of Knives. Finishes off another priest. But, well, what can it really hope to do as the archers are continuing to fight back here? There goes another Ancient. And now the Warden gets up to level 7. Solo level 7 Warden now has access to level 3 Blink. So if you thought the Warden was a Blink maniac before, it's just going to be that much stronger as the Ancient of Wonders finally taken out. All right. Spirit of Vengeance is now popping up here. We're going to see them get, well, called up and be ready. 3 Spirit of Vengeances, I believe. No, 3 Spirit of Vengeances currently out. There's a blink. There's a Fan of Knives as the Warden trying to shadow meld, but not realizing that Daybreak is about to hit as the Warden backs away at 57 hit points. Spirit of Vengeance is continuing to battle it up here. That is an army of riflemen, all 2-0 upgraded, fairly strong as the Arcane Vault just needed a couple more taps to be completed. All right, Arcane Vault is here, ready to go. Warden down to 85 hit points, continuing to fight, and we are looking at dual level 5, well, almost dual level 5 heroes going up against a single level 7. There's that healing spray. Spirit of Vengeance is still trying to finish this all off, and, well, the damage is just not sticking. All right, meanwhile, Archmage, well, still running around here. Where is that Warden again? Warden hiding down across here. Ancient of Wonders trying, or 2 of them trying to be constructed as the Warden down to 140 hit points. What can it really hope to do? Can it go ahead and blink into the range of that tower, and the Archmage is still just trying to keep track. All right, gonna see a little bit of damage. No, the Priest not even bothering, and now we saw that, well, that Fireball taking a bit of a right angle. All right, this Warden, no, you cannot get on that ship. What are you going to try and do here? Warden going to try and blink through, and does exactly that. There's going to be a slow, and the Warden now down to 105 hit points, just, well, blinking around the map. All right, Rifleman, Goblin Alchemist continuing to move around here. We're looking at that Warden, well, even with slow, well, able to get away relatively easily as the just constantly blinking and trying to lose sight of that Archmage. All right, there's another blink again. The Water Elemental this time is going to find it. And we're going to see a couple of splash hits as the Warden now down to 130 hit points. Meanwhile, damage is happening inside here. Druid of the Claw trying to fight back. What is this Warden going to do? Priest trying to, well, purposely get into harm's way as the Warden now makes its way back off to the north. This Druid of the Claw going to end up getting taken down. As, well, the Tree of Eternity suffering quite a bit of damage. We're down to about 2 minutes of mining left in the main bases. We see an Expo trying to be established, and the Warden now, well, just wants this Ancient of Wonders to be constructed to buy more potions. All right, so quick shop here. Gonna go ahead. There's a Clarity Potion, Potion of Healing, Potion of Mana, and now ready to get on the move once again. Meanwhile, the Spirit of, or Avatar of Vengeance is out here on the battlefield trying to cause problems. There's some repairs on that Tree of Eternity, and in comes the Warden. Warden, well, unable to overcome the level 3 healing spray of this Goblin Alchemist. The damage is simply not sticking on any of the units. All right, we're going to see a rejuvenation onto the Warden. Warden summons up an Avatar of Vengeance. We're going to be a couple of Spirit of Vengeances down and about here. All right, going to pick up. We're going to see a Fan of Knives, and there you are. The Warden down to 851 hit points. Unit still trying to stay alive. Druid of the Claw easily going to get taken down. Archmage is still sitting at level 4 after all this time, as we see another Fan of Knives go down here. All right, Alchemist starting to run low on mana, going to be forced to back away. Right, there's that Potion of Mana. We're going to see a Blink and a Fan of Knives, and that is a bunch of dead units as the Warden gets up to level 8. Level 8 Warden, and the Riflemen are just not quite sure how to handle this, as we're going to see another rejuvenation go down. There's another Blink, there's another Fan of Knives, and the Warden right now able to somehow stay alive after all this time, as the Warden may try and do another Fan of Knives here in just a moment. Are we going to see that the Spirit of Vengeances are now on the move, now going after that Avatar of, or at the Arcane Tower? There's another Fan of Knives. All right, so Robinson now, the solo Warden really playing it up here. Now going to head back off to the north, get to that Ancient of Wonders, buy some more pots, the Clarity Potion, Moonstone, sell some items. Perhaps needs to buy a Potion of Healing as well. No, dropping the Medallion of Courage for a little bit. Perhaps going to try and pick it up a little bit later. But are we low on gold? Yes, Robinson currently low on gold, as we're trying to train up more Wisps as well. All right, Avatar of Vengeance needs to summon up more Spirit of Vengeances here. We're looking at a 32 supply compared to 15, as the Warden is now back up to 155 mana, at least for now. Priest, Rifleman still making their way through. Avatar of Vengeance taking quite a bit of damage. Archmage sitting at level 4, and we're looking at the Avatar of Vengeance trying to retreat back here, as the Spirit of Vengeances could be perhaps going after that Priest. Nope. Priest is just right there. All right, Warden still alive and strong. Remember, now has access to level 1 Shadow Strike. There's a big Fan of Knives, and now the Archmage could be in some serious trouble. That's a lot of focus fire damage between the Spirit of Vengeances and the Warden. Warden, remember, level 1 Shadow Strike and Fan of Knives. That's a lot of mana, and just going straight after that target. Archmage ends up falling, and now levels 5 on the Alchemist. The Archmage could never get to level 5. And the Rifleman trying to retreat back out now. Are we going to see some more damage here? That's going to be a lot of damage over time. Blink should be enough. No, just simply going to chase after that target, as the solo Warden is at level 5. And, well, the Goblin Alchemist trying to finish off this Avatar of Vengeance. And this is the funny spot. If Tekko gets up to level 6, Transmute's not going to do anything. There's not that large of an army, right? Yeah, we're looking at the hero here and one Druid of the Claw that's kind of hiding off to the side. All right, are we going to see, did that give experience? No, it did not. A new Avatar of Vengeance has been summoned up. Time life coming to an end as the Warden trying to get that mana again. All right, Tekko is mining gold. That is incredibly important. Goblin Zeppelin nearby, perhaps already waiting, suspecting that the Warden is going to be coming across here and trying to do a bit of a blink. Arcane Vault, all right, in comes the blink. There's that fan of knives trying to pick up the items. Peasant after peasant getting taken down. And now the Goblin Zeppelin is just going to hide off to the side here. And this Warden can't do much as the Goblin Zeppelin is, well, a fairly safe place to, well, hide those units. Meanwhile, Archmage, Goblin Alchemist once more on the move. Alchemist needs a little bit more mana still. And what is going down here? Another peasant ends up falling. Is the Warden going to try to blink back behind enemy lines? And yes, go after these targets. All right, peasant after peasant could end up getting taken down. There's one more peasant there. There's two peasants. However, they're still able to, well, gather lumber for some strange reason. Tree of Eternity is on the move, trying to well, perhaps make its way over to the expansion. Tree of Eternity does not have Nature's Blessing. Druid of the Claw and Dryads are now showing up to the party. As we see, well, Dryads perhaps they're going to try and abolish magic down some of those targets. All right, Staff of, well, Preservation not going to be very helpful here as the fight is at the Tree of Eternity. This Druid of the Claw going to get focused down easily. Still not going to give level 5 to the Archmage as the Goblin Alchemist is nearing level 5 finally. There goes another Dryad as well as the, well, Warden sitting at level 9 now, trying to finish off and, well, and get perhaps enough experience to level 10, which would be level 3 Shadow Strike and level 3 Fan of Knives with fast blinking. This Avatar of Vengeance still causing problems. We're seeing damage onto the Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker trying to retreat back here. Avatar of Vengeance could get in some easy attacks. Warden going to quickly, well, use that last only Moonwell and continue to fight. More damage coming across here. Goblin Zeppelin, well, we're going to see the Spirit of Vengeance. Well, the Goblin Zeppelin easily going to get taken down. There's now Dizzy onto all of those units. That Archmage is not going to be able to move. Dizziness coupled with Shadow Strike, Potion of Healing, trying to get away, and that Warden is just going to be diving onto that target so easily. Archmage going to fall for a second time, and now the Goblin Alchemist is not going to have enough mana. That healing spray not reaching the target in time. Robinson, well, trying to go after another Spellbreaker here, and now perhaps going to try to go after the Alchemist. A couple of easy peasants to finish off. There goes one, and now that's going to give more corpses as the Warden, sitting at level 9, going to be able to blink back again. Spirit of Vengeances. Well, going after this Goblin Alchemist here. Warden going to use Clarity Potions, sells some more items, and well, no items, but also using that Potion of Healing. All right. Economically speaking, Tekko is in a much better spot. Archmage, however, having to deal with the Goblin Alchemist as the Warden has his or her eyes set on the prize. So he's going to try to go after any target, and now he's going to go ahead and fight. There's another Spirit of, or Avatar of Vengeance going to get summoned up here, but there's no corpses down on the ground. So this is a weird spot for this Avatar of Vengeance, as the Warden going to just try and move around once more. That Warden, you can see, 40, well, blinks very quickly, able to move around cleanly, very fast. Well, blink and now gets a rejuvenation and perhaps going to go ahead and well, try to drink from a Moonwell as well. Are we going to get another blink to engage? There's another blink back. Takes a little bit of damage. Perhaps, well, down to 372 hit points. The Druid of the Claw needs to go back into Druid form and give another rejuvenation to this Warden. All right. I said at the start of this game, you often see 2 level 5 heroes being able to take down a solo Warden, but without a Mountain King or some other way to stop that Warden, yes, well, there's Transmute available, and now Goblin Alchemist is going to just walk over to the Druid of the Claw. Yes, walking over to the Druid of the Claw, getting that Druid of the Claw and transforming it back into, well, a bit of gold. All right, more damage coming back across here. Warden trying to back away, and there's some healing spray to heal back up again as more Spirit of Vengeances are getting summoned up. Entangled Goldmine, 3 out of 5 wisps. All right, Archmage, what is he going to try and do? No real way to get damage to stick onto the Warden. And that's been the name of the game, just trying to get damage to stick onto a target, as the Entangled Goldmine, well, suffering quite a bit of damage and now needing some repairs. All right, a little bit more damage. Warden trying to back away again, trying to take down this Entangled Goldmine, as the Entangled Goldmine once more, well, constantly getting repaired, as the Warden being forced to back up again. Avatar of Vengeance isn't going to be able to do much. Plenty of water elementals here, as the Goblin Alchemist does have access to Acid Bomb. Goblin Zeppelin going to go ahead and drop down instead, as the Goblin Zeppelin, well, taking too much damage from these Spirit of Vengeances, it's going to end up falling. All right, Archmage trying to chase after the Warden again. Warden does have, well, Blink. Archmage does have Boots of Speed, and not going to be able to catch up either. Back off to the north, Tekko still mining a decent amount of gold. And, well, we're looking at 5 out of 5 mining by Robinson on the southern side. All right, some, well, high-level hero play, just trying to stretch out usefulness. Thank you for the sub. Hey, Crota, thank you for your consistent cast over all those years. Know that they are always very much enjoyed. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coming back down. Well, some heals as well. Avatar of Vengeance about to fall again, blinking away once more. There's another Clarity Potion, Acid Bomb damage over time, as the Archmage is going to go ahead and get some damage. Nope. Is it going to remove? No, it does not actually hit, and the Moonwell is still very much dry. All right, Avatar of Vengeance. All right, we're just constantly seeing repairing going back and forth as the Wisp try to jump inside, and now we're going to see this Entangled Goldmine finally taken out here, as the Wisp, unsure what to do, going to go ahead and get some detonations. 38 supply compared to 10. Goblin Alchemist sitting at level 6. Druids of the Claw have to be extremely careful if they try and get a rejuvenate or get too close to that Alchemist, as the Alchemist can easily just transmute him, as we're seeing another healing spray go down. All right, while that Alchemist does not have mana, well, that's going to be a big target. There's going to go ahead and try and pick up a little bit more damage going on to that Alchemist, as the Alchemist down to 570 hit points. There's another Shadow Strike, and, well, the Warden still trying to rack up damage onto the Alchemist. Alchemist now down to 189 hit points. There's a healing spray trying to stay alive, and the Alchemist may end up falling. Is it going to end up falling? Yes, it does. Level 10 now on the Warden, and the Warden is currently invisible. There's a reveal. Warden forced to blink away, and now that Warden going to make its way back off to the north. Level 6 Goblin Alchemist lost due to, well, Shadow Strike, Phantom Knives, and a lot of auto attacks by that Warden. The Warden doesn't even have an Orb of Venom anymore, but still able to do quite a large amount of damage. All right. Coming back through, Goblin Alchemist resurrected at the tavern here. Well, any low hit point unit just doesn't end up surviving. We're looking at this Arcane Vault about to get taken out. Spellbreakers would probably be the best unit still, and that's exactly what Tekko's going for, just mass Spellbreakers to try and cause problems. Wisps could end up getting taken down here. Well, Entangled Goldmine trying to stay alive. Are the Wisps, well, the Spellbreakers trying to rack up damage, and you can see that the Wisps are, well, trying to time their attacks. You can, like, the micro by Robinson here, they come out of the gold mine, and then as soon as they see the Spellbreakers, well, rear back with that attack, they jumped back into that gold mine while the projectile was being thrown. So really heavy micro by Robinson, as the Goblin Zeppelin now trying to transport some units away again. All right, Spellbreakers looking to take down the Tree of Eternity. 33 minutes into this game. Still no clear victor as of yet. Couple of Wisps could end up falling. Level 6, level 5. And, well, what is going to be happening here? Warden back up. Druid of the Claw perhaps going to try and make a play. Goblin Alchemist out. There's going to be a transmute. Gets the gold, and now going after some of those additional targets again, picking up some of those Spellbreakers as well. All right. The Ancient of Wonders off to the top left. Could have been pressured already. There's that healing spray once more. it feels like when Robinson, as long as it has an Ancient of Wonders, is going to be able to continue this style of play. There goes a Shadow Strike onto the Alchemist. Alchemist taking some big damage over time, 225 damage over time, or 225 plus 45 damage over time here, as the Alchemist may end up getting lost once more. All right, Goblin Zeppelin holding that Goblin Alchemist. Is the Goblins, well, I believe the Alchemist was still taking damage for just a split second, but that's finally going to be done. Going to go ahead and pick up and hide there once more. All right. Entangled Goldmine. Well, we're seeing more damage onto this Tree of Eternity. If this Tree of Eternity falls, that is going to be extremely bad news. 51 supply compared to 74. Warden trying to find some other targets. There's some healing spray trying to keep that Goblin Alchemist alive again. In comes some more Wisps. Wisp trying to repair that Tree of Eternity. Tree of Eternity down to 200 hit points. More repairs underway as, well, the Warden trying to finish things off here. Level 6, level 5 making its way down. There's some more repairs. Wisps trying to jump back, and it looks as though the Tree of Eternity is going to fall. Once the Tree of Eternity falls, that means what you see is what you get. The Warden's not going to be able to get any additional gold, at least not for the foreseeable future, as another Wisp gets taken out as well. All right. Spellbreaker trying to retreat back. Goblin Zeppelin retreating back here. 48 supply. Tekko sitting on 1,000 gold. And it looked as though for a moment that Robinson was going to be able to come out on top with the solo Warden and that impressive play. But in the end, Tekko with his two heroes, level 6, level 5, should have enough to keep this army off, to keep and handle this solo Warden. All right, looking at a little bit of damage. This Spellbreaker going to get taken down. Healing Spray not going to be enough, as the Avatar of Vengeance looking to back away again. Going after buildings, there's a little bit of damage. Avatar of Vengeance going to retreat back here. Remaining time, as soon as he's going to be revealed, that's going to be it. You just go after this Ancient of Wonders, and we just look at hit points on buildings. The Warden now going after these peasants here, and this is going to turn into a full-on base race, as the Archmage, well, gonna be able to take down the Hunter's Hall. Goblin Alchemist will take down these last couple of buildings, and the Ancient Allure now gonna try and hide by limiting its surface area. All right, Avatar of Vengeance gonna summon up a bunch of Spirit of Vengeances. The timing is not good, as the Avatar of Vengeance time life about to come to an end. Warden, well, all of those corpses are gone, and that's going to be missed opportunities for damage, as we're looking at this Ancient of Lore trying to back itself into all of these trees here. And you can see, well, he's trying to get further away, but the Spellbreakers are going to be enough to take down that Ancient of Lore. Robinson leaves the game. Tekko is victorious. Solo Warden unable to overcome the two level 5, level 6 heroes of Tekko. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below. And here are your final scores. No surprise, hero score winning to Robinson. Robinson actually having the higher total score, unit score, however, and resource score definitely in favor of Tekko, as Tekko did transition into just a large number of Spellbreakers, thereby only exposing the Archmage and that Goblin Alchemist to the hands of the Warden. Once again, let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.